Now, I will say, one of the things that I've had has been the biggest problems for couples is when couples are trying to figure out their spending and their savings. I believe there's two kinds of people in the world. There's savers and there's spenders. Now, when two spenders get together, it's a bit of a financial nightmare. They're spending money, they're not saving money, but at least they understand each other. Two savers get together, well, I'm not really sure that ever happens because I haven't seen it, but my guess is it happens and they're out there staying home, saving money, happy, and they don't have to take workshops like mine, they don't have to take classes like mine, and they don't come into our company to talk with us. But when you get a saver and a spender together, well, now you tend to have the most problems because they don't understand each other, they've got different goals, different dreams, different desires, and it really can be a problem. So, if you're a saver and a spender together, or two spenders together, you really need to figure out what exact steps are you going to take in order to get this under control. Now, we created something that we call his, hers, and ours. This is a strategy that anyone in a relationship should strongly consider for their finances. First thing you do is go through the personal family spending plan. See what all of your expenses are for the month, what your income is, and how much you have left over for discretionary spending, and what your family goals are. And then how much you want to have to spend on discretionary expenses. One of the problems with money and relationships and couples is resentment can build. And if you have to call your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend and ask for permission because you want to go out to lunch at work or you want to get a new pair of shoes and the other person says no, or they say yes, but then they're resentful about it. They say no, you're resentful about it. And that's not a good strategy for financial success. That's not a good strategy for relationship success. So what we did is created his, hers, and ours. What we suggest you do, the first thing, is you create your household family spending plan. Look at all your income, look at your expenses, talk about the family's goals, and decide how much money do we want to have left over for discretionary spending. Discretionary spending is anything that's not necessary. It's not part of your family's household expenses. Because we all have different perspectives on where we should put our discretionary spending. I actually created this for my own household because my wife and I have very different beliefs for how we should spend money. My wife thinks that a new pair of shoes a week is a necessity. She also has no problem spending far more on shoes than I can ever understand. I believe that going out to eat pretty regularly, catching ball games pretty regularly, is a pretty good way to spend discretionary money. So my wife wants to buy herself a pair of bright red shoes, and I can either say, oh sure honey, and think, and have resentment start building, this is money that's supposed to go towards our goals. Or I can say, what are you, crazy? You don't need these shoes, you've already got 600 pairs of shoes. Do you really need more? And then she's gonna build resentment saying, well, you know what? I work, I contribute, why is it, he's telling me I can have something I want. He's probably gonna go out to lunch today at work. It's not a good strategy. So what we do is you figure out how much do you have left over in your discretionary spending each month. What's each person gonna have? In most cases, we recommend it's equal between the two. And that money is yours. So you have your hours account. That's where all of your paychecks go to. That's where all of your family expenses come out of. Everything that's agreed to, everything that's on your spending plan. Then you have your his account and your her account. His account, just mine, for whatever I want to spend it on. I don't have to ask anyone. No one else has access to it. I can do whatever I want with it. And she has hers. Now, how does this help? It helps tremendously because one of the things it provides to a person is perspective on their spending and control over their spending. So now I know I may have $100 every 2 weeks that I can do whatever I want. I can save that up. I can go ahead and spend it. But when I spend it, I've got to start thinking more. So it used to be, you have your joint checking account. Well, there's $3,000 in the account. So get home, say, you want to go out to dinner tonight? Sure, go out to dinner, spend $100. Is it that big of a deal? No. But now, I'll call my wife up. I'll say, so do you want to go to dinner tonight? And she's going to respond with, who's paying? So I have to say, well, how about we split it? And she'll say, no thanks, I was just going to make some pasta. So then I can decide, okay, am I just going to do that, or am I going to say, well, I'll pay? So I'll say, you know what, I'll pay. She's got her eye on some shoes. So we go out to eat, but now I'm going to really start thinking about it. Do I need to have something to drink, or is water just fine? So am I going to get an entree that I can also have to eat tomorrow for lunch or for dinner? Or start thinking about it a little bit more. My income hasn't changed. I'm not upset about my spending because I have control over it. I can make sure it meets my specific wants, my specific desires, my goals. I plan for next week, later in the week, or I can even save up. And for her, she's still able to buy things. She window shops more than she used to, but she also takes more time thinking about her purchases and makes sure she limits them to items that she really, truly wants. And that cuts out the impulse. But she's in control of her spending, I'm in control of my spending, and the family unit as a whole is meeting our goals. So that's the beautiful thing. Your income doesn't change, your perspective on spending changes. So his, hers, and ours is a strategy that I really think anyone who's in a couple relationship, you and your partner should really think about implementing something like this.